tap, tap. The sound of muffled footsteps stopped in front of the door to my room. A moment of silence, as if whomever they belonged to was asserting if I was inside. Of all the things I could have been doing, I continued on with my restless slumber. I was very much conscious, but my body hadn't caught up yet. Even with danger bearing down on me from just beyond the door, it was as if I was completely paralyzed, unable to move. Without a doubt, this was sheer terror. Please, just leave. Hey, why isn't my body awake yet? If they came into my room right now, then... Oh! What's happened? Eek. I sprang to my feet and threw my covers at my mum, who was opening the door. Oh, Keiichi? What's the matter? Sorry, I was still half asleep. I thought it was still 1 or 2 a.m, but the morning sun was already streaming through the gap between the curtains. It felt nothing like morning. Yesterday, I must have fallen asleep right after that. Then, I shouldn't have gotten a full 10 hours of rest, but it didn't feel like that at all. My internal clock was completely screwed up, and my sense of balance felt off. I felt feverish enough that it was clear to me that I was still not well. Well, Keiichi, how are you feeling? Can you make it to school? I was well enough to go, but I wasn't mentally prepared for it. I was still plagued by the fear with the terror from yesterday. If I swallowed that needle, what would have happened? Oh, what if it had pierced my tongue? There was undoubtedly a murderous intent, but I didn't think that's all it was. If they really wanted to kill me, then there were other more certain ways to do it. They wouldn't resort to such dubious methods as having me swallow a needle. Meaning, I didn't want to believe it, but going that far was just a threat from Rena and Mion. Aren't you glad you didn't die? But next time we'll be using a more assured method. Like that. Something like sending a letter with a razor inside would have been a joke compared to this. Did you make it to the hospital? Did you take your medicine? Yeah, kinda. Something about my mum's dubious gaze bothered me. She seemed more concerned about her son's missing 2 days of school rather than him being sick. It was definitely mental fatigue. I wasn't really physically ill. It'll be hard for you to get back on track once your daily routine is thrown off. Come on, get on up. They say wellness is a state of mind. That is true. I heard that line many times before. I was given an award in elementary school for having perfect attendance. It wasn't like I was healthier than everyone else. Come on, go wash your face. Breakfast is already ready. There wasn't much time before Rena-chan comes and gets you. Mum's tone meant I couldn't argue about it, so I had to give up on skipping a second day. By the way, were you the one who got bean paste all over the living room wall, Keiichi? You shouldn't do something like that. Your father was quite angry. I didn't feel particularly guilty for doing it, so I didn't have much of a reaction. Also, Mum didn't question me further about it. I like they saw the mess. The dad got really pissed off. And obviously they slept the night and it's kind of downplayed them when they saw it again in the morning. Or remembered it, depends when they cleaned it up. She headed back downstairs after she was certain I was getting up. What Mion said as she left yesterday, I hate it if you miss school tomorrow, came back and dwelled in the back of my head. What did she mean by that? I didn't even have to really think about it. He was saying, don't be absent. We miss you, is what she's saying. We miss you. Taking it a bit further, it was the same as her saying, I should just go back to living my life as if nothing happened. If I showed any signs of acting unusual, it would have probably resulted in them making their move. For example, maybe I shouldn't pay attention to someone like Oshi-san enticing me with something unusual. Meaning, if I didn't watch my mouth, or I did anything differently from the norm, in effect, it would end up flagging myself as someone who was not wanted. And it seems that was something the girls didn't intend to forgive. So, if I just went along as normal, no harm would come to me. Was that how it was going to be? All that misery I experienced until yesterday would almost creepily just fade away. It was an enticing deal. Just by forgetting everything I'd seen or heard these last few days, I'd be able to keep on living like normal. There's no way such a selfish thing could. I swallowed hard. Once again, deliberated on the idea that I just rejected. Mion was probably a good person who had her friends at heart. She was giving me, who had mistakenly broken some rules of theirs, a chance. Was what I did really something so unforgivable? But Mion had just given me another chance. He was saying if I just forgot everything and kept living on like I had been, I'd be forgiven. Keiichi, your food is going to get cold. Hurry up and get down here. Rena will be here if you don't hurry. I'm coming. I crammed my textbooks into my bag and hastily made my way downstairs. I picked out my somewhat bland breakfast. It seemed that I didn't have much time. It was already past when I usually meet up with Rena. Given yesterday's events, she'd probably be there in the next 5 minutes, be here in the next 5 minutes. I needed to be ready to head to school by then. I had to forget everything that happened in the past 2 days. Forget it all and return to my normal life. For this to be normal, I had to be where I normally meet up with Rena. Today of all days, the rice was dry and hard to get down. Oh, she's already here. I jumped at the sound and dropped my chopsticks. That chime signal that Rena had arrived. Mum hurried me along. Come on, Rena-chan's already here. Come on, hurry, hurry. My mother's merry smile and my gloomy face were polar opposites. Honestly, I was reluctant to see Rena, who was waiting there on the other side of the door. The Rena on the other side. Was it the Rena I knew? I couldn't keep her waiting. I needed to do things as usual. Hey Rena! Morning! An invigorating greeting filtered in from across the doorway. I came since Keiichi was a bit late. Will he be okay today? I wonder. In the manner in which Rena was concerned was, without a doubt, the Rena I knew. But that was probably because that was probably only my I can't say the word. I can't say it. Reprocreated. Ah, God, that is not. I know if that's how you say it. Alright. Oh well. Forget everything from yesterday. Pretend as nothing had happened. Forget about the gruesome dismemberment. Forget about the mysterious deaths that happened the following years. Forget about the people falling to their deaths. About the terminal illness and suicide. And the lynching. And the disappearances. Forget it. Forget it all. Forget that Rena and Mion were scary. Of course, forget it all. Forget about everyone. Forget about the mochi too. Don't want to remember that. Forget. Definitely don't want to remember that. Actually, that said, it was a challenge that they set for us, so we definitely can't forget that. But once again, asked to make sure. Can you make it to school? Yeah, I'm fine. Great. Then let's go. Mi-chan is waiting. Rena showed me her usual bright smile. I couldn't find any hint of deceit in her expression. My nervousness dissipated, giving way to relief. Okay. Nothing bad's happening, it's just the music transitioning to the next scene. But you see, Sakuto-chan was so insistent she could do it. As we were walking, Rena talked about a lot of different stuff, more so than usual. Then, Sakuto-chan is clumsy, so she failed no matter how many times she tried. Oh, she was so cute. She's gone into a cute mode, hasn't she? Anything Rena talked about was just silly nonsense, so I just replied every so often, and laughed from time to time. It was a rather laid-back conversation. We passed by one of the neighbours, and they called out to us. Oh my, Keiichi-chan and Rena-chan, aren't you a bit late today? Mion-chan said she was going on ahead. Oh, did Mi-chan look mad, I wonder? We need to hurry up, Keiichi-kun. As we smiled and parted ways with our neighbour, they turned back towards me and stuck out a tongue. Not expecting that, I couldn't help but crack a smile. That is very, weird. Keiichi-kun smiled. Huh? What? Rena stopped and stared at me. I was thinking that you still haven't recovered from your cold since you seemed down this morning, Keiichi-kun, but you seem fine now. Fine. With a grin, she gently poked my cheek. It was a bright, sincere smile. Hey, Keiichi Maibara. How can you still doubt Rena after she showed you a smile like that? Maybe I just had a high fever up until today, and I imagined everything that I thought happened because I was bedridden and delirious? I really hope that was the case. If God would grant me that just one wish, there's only one thing I'd wish for. I would want what happened in these past few days, more specifically from the night of the Watanagashi up until last night. I wanted all of that to have never happened. I wonder how many times I'd wish for these past few days. As long as Rena kept on smiling like this, I think it might just become reality. So I wanted Rena to keep on smiling. Keep on smiling. No, Keiichi-kun. There we go. It's gonna go bad now, isn't it? There was mochi yesterday. Did you eat them all? That vain wish of mine was instantly shattered. Let's say they did set you a challenge, Keiichi. My heart slowly palpitating, the relaxed morning mood suddenly became frigid. Rena's smile was the same as usual. Her eyes were gentle as usual. Those mochi yesterday, did you eat them all? Of course, she wasn't asking the question at face value. In other words, Rena was asking, did you get the message? He was probably trying to convey that. Keiichi-kun? Oh, she's not going into like crazy eyes, so it's fine. We're fine. I was reluctant to give an answer. Rena stopped walking and stared deeply into my eyes. Don't hesitate, Keiichi Maibara. Rena was acting the same as usual, as always. Same as always, wasn't she? I needed to respond in my usual way. Naturally, of course. But both my throat and mouth had gone dry, my lips were stuck together. Hurry and answer, Keiichi. Not that much time had passed. I could still keep the conversation going naturally. I had to say something. Say something quickly. Rena playfully mirrored what I said when I finally squeaked out something. Rena's reaction was still normal. It seems that there wasn't as long as a pause as I thought. Somehow I finally squeaked out the rest. Delicious! However, my strained efforts neither sullied nor brightened Rena's expression. For a moment I panicked, thinking I replied incorrectly. But after a few moments, Rena broke into her usual soft smile and giggled with a joyful voice that seemed to echo through the morning air. Being strung along by that laugh, I couldn't help but laugh as well. I see. So did she eat all of them, I wonder? My timid smile froze again. Did you make it without swallowing the sewing needle? Was that what she was asking? If I'd swallowed it, then I wouldn't be here. Nah, I couldn't finish all of them. There's still some left. I was scared out of my wits. That's how I played it. Huh? What about the homework to see if you could tell which one Rena made? Haha, that homework was due today? Yeah, it's due today. Each time we'll get angry, there's probably a penalty game ready for you. We both laughed at each other again. To a casual observer, it was a typical morning. I could just let myself believe that even I'd think it was just a usual morning routine. But I was certain I wasn't mistaken. There was something unimaginable buried beneath the facade of this giggling Rena. Lies. I recall that unsuspected piercing voice that I could hardly believe came from Rena's mouth. The moment that image crossed my mind, I felt a cold sweat trickle down my back. Was it only at that particular time that so evil possessed Rena? No, that was wrong. That was still Rena. Oshi-san told me, didn't he? Actually, I looked into her. Before Rugu-san moved away to Hiramizawa, she was suspended from school. It seems she went through her school building and broke all of the windows. Oh, there's Rena back with the crazy eyes again. Rena had a disorder that normal people didn't. No matter how pleasantly she smiled, that fact would not change. But I couldn't even imagine how she looked as she broke all the glass throughout the school. One thing I knew was that it wasn't something spur of the moment. It was as if it was some sudden outburst of anger, then maybe she'd break a pane or two. But she broke all of the windows throughout her school. Just imagine going through your own school, breaking the windows with her bat. Okay, I wasn't expecting that sound effect then. Wasn't expecting that. Swinging full force at each pane of glass, one after another, paying no heed to the flying shards. Your classmates, aghast, unable to move from the sudden turn of events. I wonder where she would have found the most windows lined up in a row. Probably the hallway. Walk, wind up. Walk, wind up. It was difficult for me to connect that horrifying image with the Rena smiling at me right now. But I just had to imagine it. Impossible because it was unimaginable. That was a naive or thinking no longer worked. That unpleasant piercing sound of shattered glass. The crunching noise as Rena treads towards the broken shards walking towards me. Rena's classmate going pale as they forget to even breathe. I wonder what they did as Rena came closer, breaking windows along her path. Did they earnestly try to break her to her senses by saying something? Or did they jump at her, trying to stop her savagery? Or did they run into the staff room after being directed there by the teachers? Probably none of those. In fact, the face of that blood-curdling sight of Rena bursting window after window, undoubtedly all they could do was silently clear the path for her. Dumbfounded, just clearing the path for Rena to continue. It was far too violent an act for them to seek refuge by looking the other way. That's not to say that they were looking the other way. They were doing the only thing they could do to protect themselves. If they had done something differently from the rest, they may have suddenly found themselves as Rena's new target. What would Rena have done to whoever attracted her attention? The answer was obvious. He would have undoubtedly acted accordingly to her whims. Meaning, I would, be the next window. Rena staring into my eyes, shards of glass crunching and crackling underfoot as she drew closer. I was also drawn into her eyes, paralysed. Are we already taking the bat to the face? There we go, there's the second one. Alright, it's time to keep clicking. The Rena struck me with the bat over and over again, like I was one of those windows. It crouched down onto the floor, desperately protecting my head. Rena didn't care whether it was my head or my back. Zealously, she hits me again and again. Boy, this is some intense imagination we're having first thing in the morning, isn't it? What kind of expression she was making as she was doing this over and over again appeared to see. Her expression was so indifferent, it was completely unnerving. It's because no matter how many times she struck me, I didn't make a pleasant sound as the other windows. Boy, this is not a fun moment. We're not having a fun moment, are we? She struck me continuously, over and over again. The sound Rena wanted didn't come out. Our classmates standing around didn't try to stop her. They didn't want to be the next window. Somebody save me. Turning a blind eye unless we're hanging out. But of course, everyone in class scrambled to obtain the highest standardized test scores. They gained nothing from saving a cramped school try-hard like me. Well, okay. Eventually there will be a faint sound similar to when you crack a walnut, and some sort of reddish black spray would shoot out. Anyway, it was on that Rena momentarily lost herself in anger. After forcing myself to breathe and calm down, and calming down my heart, I recall what Oshi-san told me. And, in the counselor's medical report, he recorded all the conversations he had with Rena-san. It shows up, and quite a bit on that. What does... She mentioned the word Oyashiro-sama's... Okay, I'm so used to saying Oyashiro-sama's curse. That just this word on its own is quite, just like, oh, like, you say it have to end it with a s. Following that, Rena was suspended and had regular examinations at the hospital. Then, as Rena was undergoing counselling, she said it over and over. Oyashiro-sama. It seems that Oyashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost appearing in her house every night, standing over her pillow looking down at her. That was the only piece of their conversation, though I couldn't see the big picture, but it was by no means a happy little conversation. Then what Rena did was she was saying that ghastly incident was a result of her being possessed by Oyashiro-sama. Up until now, I didn't want to believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse. That's why I wanted to say the mysterious deaths every year happened because of some sort of conspiracy. Every time I talked with Oshi-san, I was more certain that the deaths were the work of men and not of some curse. Except, if it was people perpetrating the incidents, then my friends were somehow deeply connected. If I refused to believe that the curse was real, then I would have to believe those who acted in kindness to me were deeply involved in the incidents. Why? How? For what reason? Was Rena... was everyone? It was much more painful and troublesome than accepting that it was just Oyashiro-sama's curse. Wait, they didn't even have doesn't matter. In the aftermath, Rena was admitted to her doctor that it was because she was possessed by Oyashiro-sama. I felt a strange sense of relief from that. So, that's how it was. There wasn't a second side to Rena. She did that. Because she was possessed by something strange like Oyashiro-sama. It wasn't Rena's fault. Oyashiro-sama was the one to blame. Of course. I knew. This was all backwards. Refusing to believe there was a curse, I wanted there to be a human perpetrator. Now that my close friends were the ones under suspicion, I changed my beliefs at my own convenience, saying it was Oyashiro-sama's curse to blame, which was the better choice, accepting that Oyashiro-sama's curse exists, or rather that Rena and the rest of them were deeply involved in the string of mysterious deaths. I didn't want to think about it. If I didn't think about it, I'd be able to convince the same. I would be able to continue the same as always. I wanted to believe that, but that was no longer possible. I had received that message. It was pathetic of me to try and bend the meaning of that to my own convenience. Regardless of my opponent being a human or a curse, I won't let it kill me. As if I would just bend over and give in, for no good reason at all. Boy, that was a fun morning we had. Regardless, red alert. Keiichi-kun, you've been making a really weird face. Well, since I'm guessing we spent the entire time walking to school imagining that entire scenario. You're making a really weird face. Why, I wonder. Inhaling sharply upon hearing Rena's voice, I came back to my senses, for I had realized we were already at the entrance. Shaking my head a few times, I exorcised all those terrifying thoughts. No matter how you look at it, there's no way Rena could have done such terrible things. It was like I was trying to placate myself. In we go. Oh. As I slid the door open, a blackboard razor loaded with chalk dropped down on my head the moment I stepped into the classroom. We fell for an old classic. The chalk dust went into my eyes, inducing a brief moment of agony. Ho 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 ho. How befitting for the truant Keiichi-san. Good morning to both of you, Keiichi and Rena. Good morning, Sakuto-chan, Rika-chan. Not quite in the mood for it, I didn't really react to Sakuto's trap. Sakuto braced herself as I passed by, expecting me to attack her. She seemed a bit disappointed as I simply walked by silently. What is this? How discouraging indeed. Keiichi doesn't seem back to his usual self yet. Yeah, take it easy on him for today, okay? Suddenly there was a slap on my shoulder. It hurt a bit. Hey Kei-chan, did you get enough rest? It was Mion. My mind was full of the stuff about Rena, but Mion was also a party of interest. Remember Keiichi? That hawkish gaze from yesterday? Yeah, morning. What's with that energetic greeting? Did you eat the mochi I brought you yesterday? Because I ate them, I'm like this. Those words were itching to be blurted out. I really just didn't have the appetite. I ate a few. There were quite a lot left over. Huh? What about the homework? Do you have an answer for which one's Rena? Rena's? I can't believe you forget your homework, Keiichi-kun. Ha 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 ha. Sheesh, then it can't be helped. Time for your penalty. Flashing a lurid smile, Mion returned to her seat. There was nothing from our exchanges that would cause our classmates to suspect anything was amiss. But of course, anyone listening to our conversation up until this morning wouldn't see anything suspicious. That was why it was so frightening. They acted in a way that regardless of whatever happened to Katie Maibara, no one would ever suspect him. That fact had me terrified. Soon the teacher came. As she asked how I felt and took attendance, another dull, ordinary day began.